in Mac's Food Studio. My name is Chef Katy, and today we're gonna be making homemade refried beans. All right, so we have our garlic minced. It only took about 2 minutes, so that's what we're at so far. And then we also have dried mahoram that we're gonna be putting into the base. We have our bean liquid. I did use canned beans. I find that this liquid, especially if you're making this for the first time, is the way to go. Experiment later. And then we just have our black beans. I rinsed them out a little bit, got all of the residue off because you do want them going out like into the pot as clean as possible. And then with refried beans, you typically top it all with something called queso Oaxaca. So it's like this really creamy mozzarella-y type of cheese from the Oaxaca region in Mexico. But today we're gonna be highlighting a cheese that was actually made in Minnesota. It's just a queso fresco. It's still gonna melt and be beautiful on top of the refried beans, but these really sweet ladies, Kathy, Deanne, and Jackie, made them in southern Minnesota. So we're gonna highlight them today. All right, let's get cooking. All right, so let's make these beans. We're gonna start off with a high heat oil. Today we're gonna be using the Spectrum safflower oil. We're gonna add in roughly like 2 tablespoons. You do wanna start off with quite a bit of fat or quite a bit of oil. We're gonna add some salt in. Beans are notorious for being very easy to under-season. So you do want to add, I would recommend 3.5 to 4 healthy pinches. That's probably about 1.5 teaspoons for those of you that like to measure out your salt. We added the oil in, followed by the salt immediately, basically just because the salt is a heat enhancer. So it's gonna help the oil heat up a little bit faster. And then we're gonna move it to medium-high heat. We are frying these beans, so we do wanna do a relatively high heat for this particular method. All right, our oil is heating up pretty nicely, so we're gonna add in that dried mahoram. You always wanna add in your dried spices directly into your hot fat when you're frying, when you're sauteing, anything like that, because it's gonna flavor the oil, and then whatever gets coated in the oil is gonna also get flavored with the spices that you put in. So in this case, we're basically making a mahoram infused oil or a mahoram infused fat. For those of you that are like, what's mahoram? It's marjoram. That's, I think, the Minnesota way of saying it, hey? All right, so the spices are just starting to release their essential oils. I can start to smell all of that beautiful mahoram, and now I'm gonna add in my fresh garlic, which is the only fresh aromatic I have in this. And you're gonna coat that evenly in the fat. And we're basically just waiting for the garlic to release an aroma. So as soon as we can smell the garlic, we're good to add in the beans and get frying. I can smell the garlic, so we're adding in our beans. We'll mix those in, and now we start to fry. All right, so now the trick with a good refried bean is the salt content, because beans just mask salt and spice so easily. So we're actually gonna wait until we can smell the garlic again. So the beans are heating up. I can't smell any garlic. So we're actually gonna be adding more salt into this because salt is also a natural flavor enhancer. So heat enhancer and flavor enhancer. We're adding about another 3 good pinches because I could not smell the garlic at all. We really want that to pop through, especially because we have hardly any aromatics. Like, we want a creamy, yummy dish, but we also want something that you can smell when it goes into your mouth. All right, so I can smell the garlic. So now we're gonna add our bean liquid back in. No water, no stock, although some people do, or some renditions do call for stock. I wouldn't recommend it personally. Heat's already on all the way high, so now we're just gonna wait for it to come back up to a boil, and then we're gonna simmer it until the beans start to break down, forming a paste, and then we have our refried beans. All right, so our refried beans are finished. And as you can tell, it's not like a large quantity if you just do 1 can. I would say this probably would feed me, or maybe like 2 people if you're not super hungry or have a lot of stuff with it. But you can definitely double or triple the batch if you have a family of 4, 5, 6. I would say like triple it for a family of 6. All right, so we have our plate here. This is a heat-proof plate, it's ceramic. So we're just gonna be adding in the refried beans right in the center of the plate. And then we're just gonna smooth it out into one even layer. And if you can see, there's a little bit of texture, which is one of the elements I just love about this. You literally are just pressing the beans into the pan, creating that lovely texture. Yeah, the refried beans too that you get in the can, it's actually like kind of creamy almost. There's not a lot of beautiful chunks like you would get if you make it your own, or make your own. All right, so we have the beans all spread out over the plate, and then from here, we get to add our cotija cheese. And after trying this cheese, not gonna lie, I would probably recommend this over queso Oaxaca. The texture is rich and creamy with a little bit of salt and acid kind of at the end of it. I'd never tried this cheese before, but I found it in the store at Mackenthun's, just in their cheese section or their artisanal cheese section. Fantastic. 10 out of 10, recommend wholeheartedly. This is gonna come out delicious. Oh my gosh, and look at how perfect that ended up. Almost every square inch of the beans is covered in cheese. That's another tip, everyone. Same amount of cheese as beans. This is just gonna be fantastic. All right, so we're gonna put it in the oven now, just a low temp oven. We're gonna get it to like melty stage. Like I'd say you don't want it totally melted, but you want it like 3/4 of the way melted. And you'll take it out and we'll see the final product.